What's going on, guys? That's me, Tony Chini. I'm a professional wrestler and a motion capture artist for the Wrestling Code, which is fitting because I love wrestling video games. And today, we're going to be talking about one of my personal favorites, pro wrestling for the NES. This is Tony Chini's Gaming Corner. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the first episode of Tony Chini's Gaming Corner. I am Tony Chini, professional wrestler and motion capture artist for the Wrestling Code video game. But we're not here to talk about the Wrestling Code today. We're here to talk about one of my personal favorites and arguably one of the best wrestling video games ever made, pro wrestling for the NES. Now, how did I find out about pro wrestling? Well, it's funny because I actually, back in the day, used to go to the indie shows, specifically Pro Wrestling Syndicate, and they had Starman as a character on their show. And I wondered, where is this guy from? I need to know more about this. So as soon as I found out about this game, I had to play it, and it's one of my favorites. So today, we're going to be talking about pro wrestling for the NES, and let's get started. Pro Wrestling was released in 1986 for the Famicom Disk System, then in 1987 on the NES, and it was developed by Nintendo, and actually created by the creator of Fire Pro Wrestling, Masato Masuda. You start up the game, and the first thing you hear is that classic pro wrestling music, and you see that awesome startup screen. You get to choose between 1 and 2 player matches, and then you choose your character. Fighter Hayabusa, whose finisher is the back brain kick, also known as the Insiguri. We have Kim Corn Karn, who does the karate kick and the Mongolian chop. Giant Panther, who does the iron claw and the headbutt. King Slender with a big backbreaker. The Amazon, who does the piranha bite and the outlaw choke. And of course, Starman with the flying cross chop and the somersault drop kick. Each match is 5 minutes in length, and you can win by pinfall, count out, which is actually a 20 count, and even a 5 count of standing on the top rope for too long. Gameplay is simple because it's NES controls and not a lot of buttons, but it feels like there's plenty of options because each wrestler has a unique move set and unique special moves, as we spoke about earlier. And I also appreciate the details, like the fact that there's a cameraman and an interactive referee that runs to the count, and also the crowd. Even the crowd is very good for the times. After you choose your character, you fight your way to a VWA Championship opportunity by beating each character and becoming ranked number 1. If you become ranked number 6, you lose the game. The champion is King Slender. Unless you choose King Slender, then the champion is Giant Panther. Once you win and defend the VWA Championship, you must battle the VFW champion, Great Puma. Great Puma has the ability to use everyone's special move, which makes him the hardest challenger in the game. If you win, you merge the VWA and VFW titles and win the game. In conclusion, I really like the fact that each character has their own special moves and personas that make them special. It kind of feels like the Wrestling Code and what we're trying to do with that, and every wrestler not feeling like the same wrestler while you're playing the game. Alright, that's a wrap. Thank you so much for tuning into the first episode of Tony Chini's Gaming Corner. Wait, who's this? Wait! It's Starman! The star of pro wrestling for the NES! Thank you so much for being here, Starman. Thank you so much for supporting Tony Chini's Gaming Corner. I am Tony Chini. This is Starman. Thank you so much for watching the video. And make sure that you go on Twitter, you go on Instagram, you follow Tony Chini, and you follow Virtual Basement, and check out what we're doing with the Wrestling Code, because from pro wrestling on the NES all the way to the Wrestling Code, you have to see the development. You have to see the evolution of wrestling games. And that's what Tony Chini's Gaming Corner is going to be doing. So thank you guys for tuning into the first episode. Tony Chini, out.